What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We are back after a week hiatus.
Yes.
There was something going on. I can't remember what it was. Something everybody wanted to watch, man.
Debatable, whatever it was.
Yeah, something like that, man. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, we are back for your audio and visual pleasure on this Tuesday night. Chop It Up Tuesday. We are local musicians.
XP.
And we are glad to be back. We are one man short. Our producer, manager, video editor extraordinaire is on vacation, man. And I didn't give the okay for that. But did you give the okay?
I didn't, but he did some work in the meantime. So, we gotta.
He did. Yeah, he did do some extra. He did some extra before he left. But I was like, man, we got vacation. Cats work for us, and they get vacation time, and
they get paid double that what we paid them regularly.
They get double zeros because they're originally getting zero, but then they get paid double when they go on vacation.
Time and a half on vacation.
Double zero, man. And can you believe his trusty sidekick, Mark the Foot Podhorser? They are traveling to the same destination. They are making a bro trip. Well, I guess, is it a bro? Well, because I think their families are with, so it's not necessarily a bro trip. But I called Podhorser because he was a no-show last night. I said, man, what's going on, bro? I didn't give you the night off like that. I said, he's like, I'm in London. I was like, you're in London? I was like, okay, well, thanks, guys. We appreciate the invites and, all that kind of stuff. But, we have business here, so we couldn't go. So anyway, so that's what's going on over here in this neck of the woods. If you are so inclined, share this podcast, subscribe on YouTube, give us a follow on Facebook or on Instagram or on Twitch. We don't have an X, man. We got to work on that. We got to get X. Spotify, wherever your podcast. We're only on Spotify. We got a lot of work to do on the Spotify, man. We ran into some technical difficulties with Spotify, and we got a lot of stuff to upload. But in the meantime, our trusty producer has been so busy in editing, re-editing some of the interviews, and we have some new interviews. We have an interview with our brother Jez Graham that has been edited down, which was a 3-part. Well, it was a 1-part, but we edited it down to 3 parts, I believe. That's up on YouTube. Also, my interview with the great George Flutis, part 1, is also up on, and we're going to do a part 2 and a part 3 with him at some point, where both of us are going to talk to George about some stuff, and then I'm going to also talk to him about some Led Zeppelin stuff. So we got more coming with George. But if you are a young jazz musician, or just a young musician in general, and you really want to start getting some sage advice, which is partly what we're going to talk about tonight, man. But look up the cats who have been in the game for a while, and especially if you're a young drummer, and if you want to do this, George has some incredible stories, some great advice, and some no nonsense talk for you, man, that you need to go check out. So that video is now up on our YouTube channel. And yes, as Rich has stated, there were several funny moments with George. So
Rich almost beat Brad in. He was like,
I know, Brad, bro. Brad you can't mess with Brad on that, man. Brad is the leadoff hitter, bro. He is the leadoff. Brad is the Ricky Henderson of chat. Of the chat podcast, man. You Ricky Henderson, bro. You're not gonna beat him, man.
soon as
Ricky
he hit, he's
Henderson.
going down the base, huh? He's
Ricky
running down.
Henderson's the greatest leadoff hitter of all time. Brad is the greatest leadoff chatter of all time. That is just that is not even up for discussion at this time. So, all right, man, a lot to talk about. We actually thought we had a little to talk about, and then we got a lot to talk about. So,
Yeah.
see somebody wearing a jersey of some team that
Yeah,
some team from down south,
yeah, well, black and gold, man.
down Creole way, down there swamps,
It's
down
not sinners, bro. It's not sinners,
down
but
there
it's
down there by where all the Cajun and all the
yeah. You get a lot of all kind of stuff
the
happening down
seasoning, a lot of seasoning
there. A
down there,
lot of
bro.
seasoning,
A lot of
chicory
seasoning.
coffee, stuff like
Yeah, a
that.
lot of chicory coffee, all that kind of stuff. But the New
Man.
Orleans Saints put a beat down on the $60 million a year Dak Prescott Dallas Cowboy. I ain't seen not hide nor hair of these Cowboys. These Cowboy fans, boy, I tell you, when they win one game, it's like they won the Super Bowl. But where are they when they get destroyed?
They
They
got
disappear.
destroyed.
Yeah, I mean they
handled.
got. Well, they went to the graveyard to get a DC. I like Mike Zimmer. I mean, I'm a Zimmer guy. I love Zimmer. He is he's a legendary coach,
Yeah.
but he's been out of the game for 4 years.
Yeah.
Man, look, do
And
what
you
you
don't
want.
get a
Jerry
chance to
Jones.
really build your squad. You don't have your personnel that you want either. So
Well, but the Cowboys they have athletes, man. The Cowboys are never in need of in my opinion, they never in need of personnel. They supposed to got the best defensive player in the league, Michael Parsons. I mean,
yeah.
that's what I was told. I was told that he was the best defensive player in the and if you got the best defensive player in the league, you should be able to scheme around that cat.
Dude, the
But
Saints
all I saw was him on his back.
Old line was pushing cats down like little kids, bro. You ever saw the mascots play the kids in the halftime football? That's what
or what you remember you remember the Saturday Night Live when Peyton Manning was playing the kids, man? He was beating the kid, man. That's one of the all-time class. But he was beating the kids up and stuff.
In the porta potty, but go in there.
He was cursing at him and stuff, man.
Right.
Man.
Omaha, what you doing? That was a good skip, bro. He threw the ball, hit the kid right in the face, boom.
Hey, so look, it's football season, y'all. There's gonna be a lot of football analogies. We're sorry, we apologize in advance, but it is what it is. This is these are very important. I got a couple of analogies myself. So, but great win for New Orleans. My Fighting Irish, it's the most Jekyll and Hyde team I've ever seen in my life. But you got young boy, man. Yeah, you either gonna ride with young boy or go get another Brian Kelly and be status quo. That's the way I look at it. It's like the ceiling. What do you want? You want this? You want the high floor or you want a high ceiling?
Right, that's right.
You got to take some chances. If you want a high ceiling, you got to take some chances, man. So,
on a serious note, bro, I'm so glad this cat's name is off the watch list right now. Robert Boone Jr.
Ooh, he was man. I think there was an alert that I saw.
I thought I saw an Amber Alert for him, bro.
I saw an Amber Alert, man.
Did you see Amber Alert?
Because what's going on in Tallahassee?
Bro. And then the Falcons is a team too, so I was like, bro, they lose tonight, bro.
Man,
we have to make a cold call, bro.
Man, we might have had to get the hit the 911 button.
Might have to, bro. I might have to be like his grandfather, bro. When the grandfathers used to bring you a little candy, like here's a little word that's original. Here, take that, soothe your little nerves. Get your little candy. Everything's gonna be all right. Get your little candy.
or the butterscotch.
The
You know the
butterscotch. I wish
in
I
the
had one of the
yellow
butterscotch.
wrapper.
Right.
Oh.
Take one of these butterscotches.
Or the butter rum
Oh,
lifesavers. I'm like,
right.
why do the old cats like butter flavor so much,
Why
man?
do they love it?
Werther's,
Werther's.
butter rum, butterscotch,
Right. Oh yeah, the
uh
butter rum lifesavers. Remember those?
the
That's the
butter
one.
rum lifesavers. Then the brown had the brown oh my. You're like, man, where's
Oh
the
man.
cherry? Can we get can we get some cherry up? Can we get some grape?
Right. Right. Oh man. But
Well,
shout out to he's off the list right now. So
he's
okay.
off the list, man. You know, but
Yeah.
keep an eye on him because it's gonna be it's it's good.
Right.
I mean,
Yes.
Tallahassee's done, but at
Right.
least the Falcons are in an advantageous position with, I think, their division. So,
Well, FSU got to face Miami, don't they? That
and
is
you know what that and you know what that series is like, man. If the other team can put it on the other
yeah,
team,
they got to do
I
it.
mean, you can usually bet the house.
Right.
If
Right.
one program is down and the other
Right.
one is up, it's gonna. I mean, they definitely
Big
are
chance
gonna
there.
rub it in. They're gonna rub it
Right.
in, man. They're gonna
Right.
rub it in.
Right.
So, but that's how the world turns, man.
It sure is.
It is what it is. Uh, so what's going on, man? I had a great show with Kathleen Bertrand.
I saw the
This
pictures, man.
past
Nice looking venue and
this
everything,
past
man.
Friday, I'm telling you, man. We played down in Serenbe. Serenbe has it going on, man. They figured that little community out quick. They
Yeah.
had the people pulling up in the golf carts, bruh. They have a world class venue down there that they have built in a
Mhm.
tent, and it is spectacular, man. It's a round stage, so everything it's in the
Right.
round, and then the audience kind of kind of cups you like this,
Nice.
so it kind of comes around, so it doesn't go behind you, but it comes just a little past it, so it's not on the sides, but it comes just a little bit past a
Semicircle. Right.
semicircle, and they are right kind of on top of you, but you have a lot of depth because of the way the stage is built that you know I was very, very, very impressed
Mm-hmm.
with everything that they're doing down there, and I'm not sure how many concerts they're. I mean, I know that they're also doing theater uh, in that same venue. I think they have a play that's running now because they
Right.
had signs and stuff up for it. But really, really cool experience. And Kathleen is in fantastic spirits. This was her first sort of big performance that she's done ever since her home was burned down, which actually I think the anniversary of that was last week, and she was on our show when that was
Mm-hmm.
happening. So everything's kind of coming full circle. We're going to have her back on shortly here or very soon to just to sort of um give her some closure, right, on all of that, and
Right.
talk to her about just coming out of the ashes, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but it was a great performance, great experience, um, and look forward to the next one down there, man. So
Nice.
I know I had a great show with actually mother and daughter, right? You played with the mother, Lori Williams, on Saturday, and then you played with the daughter, Lava High, on Sunday. So,
Yeah, it was really, really cool. It's an interesting dynamic too because they do different things, but you can
right.
hear the lineage in, you think about, I'm not no way saying Lava High is the Steph Curry of the situation,
Yeah.
but you can see the difference between a person who's trying to learn this thing on their own and legacy, like, lineage. So same thing with
Wow.
Marcellus and his sons and everybody else. I
Right.
mean, it's just a huge advantage. And then if you put work ethic with it,
Hmm.
then it's just like, you see people all the time who have that lineage of whether it's baseball,
Hmm.
all these juniors that's playing sports. You're playing against some of the big people already. I remember Ellis, Branford and Winton told me that they were getting ready to go outside to play, and Ellis stopped them, their father, and said, "Hey, go get your instruments. Sarah Vaughan is in the living room."
Hmm.
So I never had anything like that.
Grow up
Uh,
with it, man. You grow up
right,
around it.
right. So it's a huge advantage. So it was a great gig. Lori's gig was good. Was outside. You know how it is with the rain situation, bro.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 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 exactly.
young musicians, always be prepared. Carry something that's gonna cover up your equipment just in case it rains, or make sure you ask a lot of questions to see if there's a rain contingency. If you have contracts on a gig and it's outdoors, have an inclement weather clause in your contracts. Just a side note.
Mm-hmm.
And then at St. James, Lava High did a great performance. It was really cool because I did some vocoder work, and it was a very different band, very different situation. But it was really, really cool, man. I think this show was the most, I don't know, polished, but it felt like everything was really aligned in this show.
Right.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, the drummer was on time on Sunday, so
he
you know,
was.
he
He was
made,
on time.
you know,
He
it
was
makes
there
it a lot
early, man.
easier. He was there early, it
Right.
makes a big difference, man, from what I
Yeah.
heard. But,
Yeah.
you know, among other things. But, the less stress the better. That's up.
Oh, my
Some people
goodness.
don't feel that way though, man. Some people
No.
they live in that, man. I mean,
And the rehearsal for the gig was barely 40 minutes because cats did their homework. We just hit transitions. I was
right,
like, we talked longer than we had a rehearsal.
right,
So
right.
I mean, that's how it should be. Go back to our one of our earliest episodes, if not the earliest one, where we talked about the difference between practice and rehearsal.
Yeah.
So when that comes together, and look, we talk about this all the time, Chris. All it takes is one person to mess up a good thing. Like if you have a singer that trusts you to learn the songs and you have rehearsal for an hour, we know there's one vocalist. We knocked out that rehearsal, bro. And she was like, I feel cheated. We
Yeah,
did
she
all
was
this in an
mad.
hour.
She was mad, boy. She was like, gotcha.
Just like,
Gotcha.
But she was like at that gig to see if we would mess up on that gig or anything. Aha, we needed more than an hour. Nah, chief. I told y'all, I was like, dude, let's make sure we hit this gig so we can go back to these 45-minute, 1 hour rehearsals, bro. We don't have to go back to 2
Right.
3 hour joints.
I mean, man, it's funny you just brought up lineage, and
Right.
because I've been thinking a lot about that, and it's football season, so here come another one. All
There
right,
you go.
so
Good.
you know, my Notre Dame Fighting Irish, we have uh, uh the son of the great Chicago Bears linebacker Brian Urlacher is a true freshman, and so he got to play a little bit in this last game, and man, it was like, what is that? I mean, I
Stop
showed
all the
you,
play.
I showed you the highlight, and you were
You
like,
showed
what?
that to me. I was like, oh my goodness.
And the thing that sticks out about him is the first thing is like his fundamentals, man, of how he's tackling, how he's reading the play.
Yeah,
Just
decision making.
and I started thinking, but and it's of course it's not always because there's a lot of lineage kids that don't end up being what what their parents were, and that that happens a lot too. But it's just like you said, the advantage is there if they want it, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have the talent, but if they're passionate about what they're doing, and then they also put the work in. You're also seeing that with Peyton Manning's and Eli's nephew.
Yeah.
Like, what is that? I
Yes.
mean, what is that? It's another case of, you're coming up in these channels where do you have every advantage? Sure, you do, but they're not going to give you anything. You know that they're going to make you work for everything that you're going to do, and learning having that type of or learning that type of work ethic at a young age is really invaluable. So similar to what we're seeing out of Lava High in terms of being around her, being around her mother Lori and being around it, not only just having the talent but also having the passion and the work ethic for it. It's a home run, man. You can't
Yeah.
miss. You can't
And
miss. So
on Lori's gig, she's inviting Lava High to sing with
right,
her
right,
band, which is going to be a good band, what have you. You know what I'm saying? So
right,
she's already getting the taste. There's no doubt, like you said, Brian Urlacher's son. What impressed me the most, besides the athleticism, is the quick decision making. And you think
right.
about that in terms of us as musicians, particularly of the rhythm section, because we have to make so many decisions on the fly, right?
Mm,
And if you're thinking about it, that's the enemy. The moment
right,
has passed if you think about it. How many times like something happens, you're like, oh shoot, I should have caught that. Because if you're thinking about it, but you got to be able to react and recognize what's going on. So
mm,
when I'm looking at him shooting the gap and making a decision that quickly, it's like the computer is on, like
right.
oh.
Right. Mm, the
But isn't that the same
processing,
thing that we do? The processing of a
yeah.
situation, right? And so
But the
you younger cats who come in and your students, when they get in that scenario, they don't know how to react. Like I tell my students all the time, it's like, okay, that they threw a curveball, they went to the bridge. You got to know the words to know if they're going to go to the bridge and be able to get there, right? Because sometimes they just following the chart and they're like, what happened? I don't know where we are.
right,
Well, you got
right,
to, when you get old enough and get more experience, you'll realize, oh, there's a possibility that the person may go to the bridge, right? And after
right.
you, so is that? Do you think about that when you play drums? Like those moments in the rhythm section, are you aware of those moments that you can react to, or is just inherent? Or
Yeah, but the only way to get that is that you have to have what? The reps.
right, right.
And all right, one more football analogy. But not a football
Mhm.
analogy, but Troy Polamalu, who's one of my favorite all-time players. I've
Pittsburgh
been
Steelers.
watching, now that he's retired, he's doing some coaching with kids and
Really?
doing some Troy, but Troy's a very soft-spoken, he's super religious cat, like very like not limelight like at all.
Hmm.
So for those of you, Troy Polamalu is the dude in the Head and Shoulders
Yeah, I
commercials with
saw
all
that.
the hair. That's like his trademark. If you don't know who
My
Troy
best
Polamalu
safeties in
is,
history.
but and just growing up in Polynesian, and Polynesian is completely different anyway, right? They are super serious about whatever it is that they're doing. But you know, I've been checking out some interviews with him, and he is, people have been asking him, how were you able to do what you do? And he had two things that he really sort of brought to light. The first one was he was trying to get every rep in practice that he could. He was like, I'll go play with the scout team because I need to see if what I want to do is going to work, right? I have these ideas, but I have to go and test them out first. So how do you test them out? You can't do that unless you're in a live situation.
Yes.
For you to sit there and be by yourself, you can study all you want, practice all this stuff. For you to be able to execute ideas, you have to be working with other people to see if that works in a musical context. So him breaking this concept down of, man, I wanted to, I didn't care after my practice. I was trying to go practice with everybody because I needed to get those reps. Everything was about reps for him. You hear Tom Brady talk about the same thing. It's all about reps. The more reps you get, the more comfortable you're going to be able to be later when the real bullets are flying. So no different from what we do. It's the same thing. You have to get those reps. So you asking when you 20 something and asking what the gig, and if the gig don't pay, that's ridiculous. You need the reps. You have to get those reps, and you have to get reps with good players, and you have to get reps with bad players because you have to know how to navigate with everybody. And I don't care if you go to New York. I don't care if you go to LA. I don't care if you go to Nashville. I don't care if you go to Paris. I don't care if you go to Milan. Wherever you're playing, there's going to be guys on a super high level, and there's going to be guys on a lower level. And you you have to know how to navigate both worlds, and the only way to do that is to get what? Reps. So that was the first thing that Troy talked about. The second thing was he would pick out 5 guys every year that he wanted to study, and he would put film. He would get a cut up of all those cats, good plays and bad plays, not just the good play, but the bad. And he wanted to see what happened in both situations. That to me is genius right there. It's like, I want to see what this guy does when he does something extraordinary and when he makes a mistake, because I want to see what the mistake is, and and then also be able to see, of course, you want to see the great plays, but that's the first time I really heard that, man, was to see, I want to see the cat's mistakes as well. So that kind of blew my mind, right?
Sounds like my dating life, bro.
Well, you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Oh no, not at all.
All right, so we won't stroll down that road. But if you want to be great, you got to study the greats, man.
How do you do that? How do you study the greats?
That's a great question, because most of the greats ain't on YouTube, bro. Let's just call it what it is. Some cats have figured it out. You might get lucky and get a cat that has been able to dive into that world and kind of knows what they're doing, and they're breaking some stuff down. But most of the time, they're not on YouTube, man. They're not on social media. Oh, well, how do I go? Well, you got to go listen to the music, and you got to listen to what's going on a particular record or a particular song. And you actually have to study, put your ears on that for a long time. I'm a guy, I did do some transcription stuff. I should probably have done more. I didn't do a lot of transcription. I was more of I would play along, and I would try to figure things out more that way. Yes, I did do some transcription, but I was more interested in not being a verbatim guy all the time. That was just that.
But your method is your method. Immersion, absorption.
That concept, it worked for me. Yeah. I mean, there's some things you have to I can't. Man, this is crazy. Okay, let me go bar and write this out and figure out what exact, and then I can see it. That's the whole thing about transcribing, right? Is you can see it and then you can work on individual sections or bars or whatever. So it's definitely very
it's
valuable.
easier for analysis, because if you can see it, you
Right.
can try to see what's going on and see the bigger
Right.
picture.
Right.
Sometimes you miss something, like, is this tied in together? Why would they do this? Whatever, so.
Right. So yeah, so it's definitely a plus. But
But sometimes transcription doesn't work for everybody. So,
and also and listening, because that at the end of the
all
day
of it is listening, though. All of it is that.
that's really what, and this is sort of where we're getting to, where, man, there's I'm running in, and I don't, this would be interesting to see if you've come up across the same thing, but I'm running into contact with um musicians that you can immediately tell there's major holes in their playing. And I'm not talking about just from a youth standpoint. I'm talking about just from a knowing how to play with other people, or to read what's going on and not be on a page, or be, well, this is how I think it's supposed to go. But when you're dealing with human beings, some things are gonna go left when it should have went right. Some things are gonna go right when it should have been left. So the only way to get that again is experience, getting the reps in. You have to get those reps in. But I have been definitely coming into contact with guy, man, that it's stunning that the holes are where they are, and lack of fundamentals, bad fun, and so nothing to hold on to. It's
Is that because
more of
that
a,
they're being pushed into whatever it is so quickly that they don't have time for
well, are
fundamentals?
they pushed, or is that the quote unquote goal right now? I could throw you another football analogy. You want it? Okay,
Yeah,
here it
go
goes.
ahead.
Caleb Williams, this all-star Mr. Everything quarterback from USC, right? Man, he don't know what the heck is going on right now. Because when you've been enabled to do whatever you want, and do just, you just go out there and make something happen for all. This is very, and this actually, this analogy is another, this is, I think, is very compatible to what we're seeing too. When you're enabled to just, man, I'm gonna go out and feel it. You dealt with some of that this week. Oh man, I'm gonna feel it. Okay, you can tell who's been feeling it and who's really been like in the trenches, okay, learning what they're supposed to learn. So if you just, if it's going to be winging it all the time, you in for a rude awakening with when you get into structured situations, meaning you have to play a show. You have to play within that, with whatever the composition is. You have parts, specific parts that you
Right.
have to, specific lines. You've dealt with this a couple of weeks in a row. You have specific lines that you have to play. You don't know where you are. You're not playing them. I'm playing them for you. I don't want to play them. You're supposed to be playing that. But now I'm forced to play that because you can't play it, and you don't know where you don't know where we are in the tune. So you're seeing this. I talked to, my wife is going through some of this in the medical profession. And just like you said, people are being fast tracked into positions that they are not at all prepared for. And so there's a huge number of people that are going to suffer because of that, because um, if you're fast tracked for whatever reason, maybe nobody wants to take it. So you just somebody gets elevated to that
Right.
position. But in our profession, it's a lot more of, I'm just going to come out and show everybody what I can do. And it's more about the hang, getting people to follow me on social media and yada yada yada. It's not about getting better. So I've talked enough, man. What do you think
There's a
about
reason why I loved everything that you said. Reps thing is just resonating. So I'm going to assimilate that into my teaching. Um, but I think about a phenom like Wynton Marsalis and Branford Marsalis, right? Those two. And there was a reason why Ellis made them play with the Art Blakey band, right? Now, Wynton was really, really good. It came from his father, he could have handed him everything. Go ahead. He had enough. Ellis had enough connections for him to get a recording contract then,
Mm-hmm.
but he says no. You need to play with the Art Blakey band. And if anybody know anything about Art Blakey, it
Man,
was it was a training ground for young
it
musicians.
was a training ground.
And then once you got old enough, he kicked you out. Now you
Like
ready to
Betty
go on your own.
Carter, same
Right.
thing. Yep.
So it was a rite of passage. And so Wynn and them had to learn how to play. They had to take the reps with the big boys. Now, your Caleb Williams analogy is spot on. Because guess what? You come in as a phenom, everybody on that field was a phenom at one time.
That's right.
You, as special as they're building you up to be, I mean, these guys have always been in your position, the guys that's on the field. So let's wrap that analogy around music. When you were talking about it, made me think about, yeah, you're great coming in as a young musician, but you're wasting our time in rehearsal when you don't learn your stuff. Guess what? We all were phenoms before. We all were the hot guy coming in. Remember when you were the first hot guy in the band,
Yep.
the young guy? They had a nickname for me. Right now, some people still call me Schoolboy because that was my nickname in the band when I got in. I was the hot guy. I was in school or whatever.
Yeah.
I can call somebody up right now. Alan Williams, the drummer. He's like, "Hey, what's up, Schoolboy?" I haven't been no shape or form known as that young cat anymore, right?
Yeah. Yep.
But I was the phenom in there. But guess what? I had to learn things. I had Chris, what's Chris Adonis's uncle? Used to play with Diane Reeves, bass player, Severin, Chris Severin. Got in the band with him. He was killing. He said, "Hey man, that chord you playing is wrong." I was like, "Nah, I looked it up online. Not online. I looked it up and I had a sheet music.
Had a sheet music,
yeah,
right?
Sheet music, real book, whatever." He said, "You didn't listen to the song." I said, I mean, I listened to it. And then that's when he schooled me. He says, "You know why I know it's an E and not an F?" I was like, "Why?" He said, "Because it's an open string on the bass. And that's the only way you can play that note is an open string. You can't play an E flat or something like that. They didn't have 5-string upright basses, you know what I'm saying?"
Right.
He said that's the only way you can play it. And it rings, and I can hear that. I was like, "Oh, dang, I need to listen more closely." So I had to learn the hard way. I need to study a little bit more in depth. I had to study with a more refined ear. Because just because I was the hot boy before, right now, Chris Severin was the hot guy on the scene when he came in. And I'm sure he took his lumps. And I'm sure everybody, but if you're getting fast tracked into it, you're going to have a lot of holes in your plan. I dare say we warned a person about a particular venue to go to. He said, with our wisdom, listen, this is what you got to do. Do people know about counting the audience, counting the seats? They don't even know about that. All these things that if you're whether to take the guarantee or take the ticket sales. I mean, people don't even talk about it. You have to learn that from somebody, right? Or you say, don't listen. This club has been having issues paying money. Now, if you're a leader, you're supposed to pay for everybody and you wait for the money. Isn't that right? For most cases, right? I'm a band leader. I promise my cats money. If the venue don't pay, I gotta pay them. There's no way they supposed to be waiting forever to get the money.
Right.
But if you don't know that, not only you gonna be mad at the club, the band members gonna be mad at you because they haven't got paid. They don't need to know anything about your business with the club or nothing like that. I mean, that's things that you have to learn. Situations like you said that you need reps in. Just because you're an incredible piano player doesn't mean that you're ready for a gig with the coldest cat out there. You're not ready for it yet because you haven't taken the reps to know what's going on in a situation.
Mhm.
And all the people in the band that's on that level has been where you were before.
Mhm.
So it's not, man, you get to this level of playing and you waste my time in a rehearsal, not learning the stuff.
Mhm.
I gotta let you know. I'll be like, young blood, you sound good, but you didn't show up on time. Rehearsal started at 1 o'clock. You didn't call, you didn't text, you didn't tell us that you were in traffic, you didn't do anything. You didn't check out the Dropbox folder where we had all the information at, bro. You
Mhm.
know, hey, bro, there was a chart in it. Did you check out the chart? Oh no, where's the chart at? You're
Right.
doing rookie mistakes, bro. I don't care how great you are.
Mhm.
So I think that statement that you have up here, want to be great, study the greats. I think we need to have a point B, which is how do you study?
Well,
What's
we can
your
get.
studying like?
I mean, yeah, and that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother masterclass in itself, right?
Right,
Now, for us, nobody really. It wasn't really about somebody. I mean, you did at some point have to um refine, and you had to learn because there's always a way to go deeper, right?
right, right,
But the advantage that we had was that music was it was a part of everyday life when we were growing up. So you're listening all the time. You're listening in the car. You're listening in the grocery store. You're listening when you get home. You're listening to, man, so many bad cats that used to just do jingles and commercials. So you're learning you're learning 30, 45 seconds of some sort of you know what I'm saying? Where you're getting an education without going to school
well,
when we
if you're
were
paying
kind of
attention.
growing up.
If you have discerning ears and paying attention to it, yes.
Yeah, I mean, but everybody knows certain uh jingles that would come up.
Yeah, but do you ever listen to it and say, why does that work?
Well,
Nationwide is
that's
on
right.
the side.
That's the but that's the next thing. But at
Right,
least you know that,
right,
right? You
right,
can hear that if somebody plays that. Oh, yada yada. That's the nationwide. You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
You can play something now, and they're like, never heard it. I mean, am I lying
Right.
about?
No.
I mean, simple, dude. How many times have we been in situations where it's just a blues? Clueless, dude. It's rhythm changes.
Oh my
We just went through
goodness.
that a couple weeks ago.
Yelling.
How do you not hear?
Yelling.
How can you not hear? Oh, I didn't know it. Can you recognize?
Well, that was a learning moment for them.
That's
Here's
true, but what I'm saying is at 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 23 or 24.
okay, but you got to think. What if we didn't say that? Would he have learned? This is the thing. You have to have that other person to say, "Hey man, you got to listen deeper." Right?
Right.
But those cats, if we were not there to do that, he did the right thing by showing up, and I got to give it to him. That cat is open to anything we throw
No
at him, right?
question. No question.
But that's what you have to be. But if he never put himself in that situation
Right.
around, I'll put in quotes for us greats, you're
Mhm.
never around the guys who are doing what you want to do, you won't be privy or privileged to that information that you need to get, which is information is, hey man, stop looking at your phone for the
Right.
name title of the song.
Mhm.
All it is a rhythm changes. And they're like,
Mhm.
that's all it is? Yes. So now their wheels are turning. Maybe I need to listen deeper. Maybe I need to be a little bit more discerning with my ear. But if we never said that, we had a choice to make too. We could just let him fail the whole time, let him scroll through it, whatever.
Which, truth be said, if we weren't there, that's what would have happened.
That's what would have happened. Because there was no communication on the bandstand either. That drives me up a wall too. I was like, "This, you're not talking to each other." I
But
imagine in
also, people are
football,
afraid. People are afraid to say anything. Just, oh, I don't want to.
yeah,
You can't correct it. You can't correct anybody anymore.
I imagine just thinking about it right now, Chris. With sports, especially particularly football, defense is you got to rely on communication. So I imagine there are a lot of teams that it must drive a person up a wall that somebody doesn't communicate or refuses to communicate. Because it drives me up a wall on a bandstand when people refuse to say something, even in your shortcoming. There's been times where I've been thinking about stuff and I forget what section I'm on. I'm like, is this the bridge? Just whatever. But you
Mm,
gotta communicate. You gotta be like, yo, is this where we at right now?
mm-hmm,
Or where's one? Like if you start off a groove, I'm like, oh
mm-hmm.
shoot, I wasn't paying attention at the top.
Right,
Where's one? You like, I'm gonna show you. It
right.
happened to I think early on when I was first like introduced to Afro-Cuban stuff, you were heavily into it. And I think we had like a rehearsal or something. I'm like, dude, I cannot find beat one. And you
Mm-hmm,
simply said, it's on my cowbell. And I was
mm-hmm.
like, oh, I was like, it shined like a bright light. Oh, there it is. So now, whenever I see a cat with a drum set and he has his foot on the cowbell, that bell, I'm like, that's what I need to pay attention to.
But again, you didn't play it off
Right, right.
like everything was cool. Hey man, you need to go over anything? No, I'm good.
Oh my goodness. Where's my Werther's original? Need a little candy, bro.
But man, I mean, dude, as you know, I've told that story 1,000 times about, you know, having to play with Glasper and these cats and
Right,
they call a loan together. I don't know it. I act I'm cool. Yeah. You
right.
know, legendary. I mean, for me, but those and sometimes, man, those are the moments where you learn the most. You really you do it's easier. Well, it's not easier, but there's some lessons that you can only learn from failure.
Right.
So, failure is an important part of the process. It really is.
Oh, it is.
So,
It is.
if are afraid to fail or act like you don't fail or don't or you're always cool, it's pretty easy to sniff it out like you don't know what's going on, man. You know.
One of my pet peeves is drummers that play measures and not phrases. Drummers who count measures of four and say, "Oh, I'm gonna put a fill here." Like, dude, you got to know the phrase. You got to know
Mhm.
phrasing,
Mhm.
not 32 bar form.
Mhm. Mhm.
Know the melody, phrasing.
Very important.
What's right? That's what is this thing called love. Now, if you knew the words, the next part, now who can stop this mystery, right? That tells you the phrase already. Ba ba da. The first one was da 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 da. Ba da 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 ba da 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 da. That's a different phrase.
Right.
And so if you're playing 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 4 pop pop da boom boom da 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 pop pop da, you might step on the beginning part of the phrase if you're playing measures.
Mm.
So that's a pet peeve of mine when you mentioned that, that. But
Well, but again, you're only gonna what learn that by what reps,
reps.
because mastery of we're at a point where there's certain tunes. If we're talking jazz idiom here. I mean, any idiom, pop. It could be pop, be funk, whatever. But we're kind of talking about jazz idiom here, where we can set up anything over anything
Anything.
and play the tune. That only comes, man, from how many hours and reps of what is this thing called love have we played, where you're just in a whole, man, we can play that in any time signature. We can play that with any rhythm that we want at this point because we understand everything that there is about, and that's what, again, it gives you. It's not that we know 20,000 songs like that. You know, you can't know every song, but once you start to understand, it's just like play calls, right? Or
Right.
you know, you're once you, that's why it's like, again, that brilliance in the basics, man. It gives you a lot of longevity, man, to make things. Now you can be creative with things, right?
Right.
So, but that those reps of just repetition after repetition after repetition on that, that's the only way you get that, man. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I remember listening to the great album Kind of Blue. And I've listened to it for a bunch of times. And then um I'm listening to the differences between Miles Davis when he plays, and then Cannonball Adderley when he plays, and then John Coltrane. I'm listening to So What, which is basically a modal tune, so it's only two different chords in the song. Uh Arguably two,
Right,
okay?
right,
Because
right,
there's other things that they're
right.
doing.
Yeah, right, right.
Right. So, and I listened to Coltrane. I challenge anybody in the chat to go listen to that and study where Coltrane, study the beat that he enters. Stop listening to the melody, listen to when he enters, phrasing wise. It was the most masterful thing in the world. And when you say study the greats, that's when you really putting your hard hat on. It's like, he never comes in on beat one. Then you look at
Yeah,
yourself. I always come in on beat one.
that's right.
Dudes, they always play the first note of the scale. Ba, da, 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 da. And that's why their songs sound like a scale. And that's why there's no rhythmic depth to their play, right?
Got a
Everybody
funny
plays
story. I got a
on
funny
beat,
story about that. I have a funny story about that, but go ahead.
right? Everybody plays on beat one and plays the first note. Everybody plays there's the wonder why everybody sounds the same. Now,
Is
three
he
different
coming on
people
and a two? I'm just curious. I'm playing that back in my head. Is that and a two that he comes in on?
and a two
Yeah.
and B3, which
Hmm.
is the weirdest thing. But and a two is so prevalent. Boom.
Yeah. I was just
Up,
okay.
up, wait, you're like, what?
I'm just make sure here. Yeah.
It's like, what? Just go back and listen to you guys in the
I
chat.
got a man,
Good.
funny story about that. Not that particular, but I was riding around, man, with our brother Kina Boto, bro. And
Uh-huh.
I had I can't remember what I had. I had something on. He got in the car and I put this CD on. I think it was this cat Eric Truffat, who's a French trumpet player, and he was I mean, he's incredible. His constant, I love his music, still do. But his stuff was coming more from like, you know, drum and bass, and this is like
Right.
night. You know, it's like when that kind of stuff was really kind of hot in the jazz community.
Right.
So it was more using like kind of electronica type, but with an acoustic band. So
Right. Right.
anyway, but there was one tune where they were quote unquote swinging, and I'm real new. I'm still very green at this point, man, to swing and stuff like that. Of course, this cat is that's what he lives, right?
Right.
The minute that tune came on, he goes, these some young cats, huh? like that, right? And I was like, what do you, I said, why would you, why you say that, man? He said, man, because they playing on beat one, man. And because we were just, I can't remember where we were going to get something to eat or something like that, but we were just riding and just that conversation, he was
Right.
like, yeah, man. He said, man, you never want to hit beat one when you swing
Nah.
it like that. I was like, really? He's like, yeah, man, you play anything except for one, man, like that. You know, you play and a four, four, two, and at that time I was like,
What did he tell you?
what? Really?
Right. Right.
Wow. And the little things like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm listening for that when I
Yeah.
hear stuff. And I later, after some time had passed, I did go back and listen to that, and I was like, wow, this is square.
Right.
The way that coming, they're coming on, hitting on beat one all this. I was like,
Right.
whoa,
Right.
okay.
Right.
So just another that had nothing to do with you know, being in the practice room working on transcriptions. You know what I'm saying? Just those little things
Yeah.
like that.
Do you feel like when you're studying a person or a great person that you feel like you're getting in their mind a little bit? Do you feel like you're
That's
learning
what you're
about it?
trying to do. You're trying
Yeah.
to, you're trying to learn um why they make why they make those choices.
Right.
Our good friend and brother George Flutis just came, well, not just came back, but he played he was up in Canada doing a series of shows with uh this Led Zeppelin tribute. This guy, he's the leader of the band is a cat. He's Japanese,
Mhm.
and he but he's, as you know, they are very, again, still very, whatever they choose, they're very serious about it. So this cat
Right.
actually lives as the original Led Zeppelin guitar player. This is how he lit. This is, I'm talking about, he kind of looks like the cat. Like,
Method acting.
bro, it's absolutely insane. Jimmy Sakura. Guys can
Yeah.
look him up,
Yeah. No.
and they call him Mr. Jimmy. And
Mhm.
so but George, one of the things that George was very curious about was like, man, is this cat gonna be able to groove? Is this cat gonna be able to, is he just a copycat, basically?
Mhm.
So the whole idea of his concept, he says, is like he plays in the spirit of Jimmy Page, who's the original Led Zeppelin guitar player. He doesn't, it's not like he's playing verbatim, just copying the solos or copying, which is
Mhm.
very interesting, right? So George was like, man, I don't know how this is going to work out. But he said, man, immediately the first rehearsal, man, he was like, wow, this cat, he's not like just playing uh verbatim like licks and stuff he's playing in the cat's style. Like,
Mhm.
wow. So for you, this is interesting because there's certain guys where you hear a lot of cloning, right? It's like, oh, that's from such and such, or I know where you got that from. So what's your philosophy about that, about playing in the style of somebody? Take McCoy Tyner. Very interesting subject because a lot of cats, it's like, man, give me McCoy. Okay, so are you trying to play like McCoy verbatim things that you've heard, or are you playing in the style of McCoy Tyner? So that's a question for you.
Well,
That's, that's deep, man. That's deep.
here's the thing. People become musicians for many different reasons. So, um, I think if you're thinking about music in terms of a language, Are you learning language verbatim to speak like a person? Are you learning language because you're curious about vocabulary and you like what you hear and you by osmosis is just because you study a person you start sounding like that person? My thoughts about that is this. You can transcribe as much of a person that you want. You can listen to a person till you blue in the face. You will never be able to play like that person because you are you. You are uniquely you, and they are them. You can study their touch. You can buy the same drumsticks that they had. You can buy the same equipment. I just played a Steinway thing where we all played on the same piano, and everybody sounded different on the same piano.
Mm-hmm.
Played with Marcus Miller, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, man, I know you're going to play with Marcus Miller. Can you take a picture of his bass rig for me?" I said, "Dude, I'm not going to get in trouble by losing the gig by taking a picture, but if I can, I'll try to take a picture." We get to the first rehearsal. Guess what Marcus does? He plugs into the board, and it was his hands that made the sound. It
His
wasn't the
hands.
instrument, it wasn't the amp,
Right.
it wasn't the octave pedal that he had. So, no matter how much you transcribe to try to be the person, you won't be able to make those choices that they make in a given moment because they are uniquely themselves. Now, you can play in a style of. You can play as much, you can be influenced by that person so much that you can sound like them. My brother
Mm-hmm.
came back from college, his first year in college, and started saying, "What's up, dog?" We were like, "Man, dog, what?" But next thing you know, I'm hanging around my brother. My brother's only 13 months older than me, Don. I start sounding like Don, but I'm not Don, making my own choices. But because I'm picking up the language. But guess what? When I started hanging around my other friends, that language started coming in too. So yeah, you're studying the grades. That my purpose as a musician. I'm not going to say what everybody's purpose. They might want to sound like Bobby Brown, or maybe sound like Beatles, or sound like Bob Dylan. That's fine. I have favorites, and all of those are going to be assimilating to my style of who I am and why I
Mm-hmm.
like it and what I like to become. I'm grabbing an inspiration from all of them. And sometimes you have to study harder and deeper to figure out what they're doing, what their mind is. Case in point, and then I'll give it back to you. As a student that I was taking over when I was doing my grad studies, getting my master's, part of my duties as assistantship was to teach a couple of lessons. This guy goes in, I might have told this story before. He wants to do the Headhunters album with Chameleon and all that kind of stuff, right? It's okay, cool. So he had a band of students, and this guy got his dad to buy him a keyboard that have a clav sound on it because he wanted to do the whole thing of Chameleon. He learned verbatim what Herbie played, the clav part. So I'm excited. I go to his recital. The drummer is not playing anything that Harvey Mason played. Bass player is not playing anything. So after the concert's over, I said, "Hey man, enjoy your concert." I said, "Can I give you a little critique?" He said, "Sure." I said, "Do you think that Herbie played that clav part because that's what he wanted to play, or was it in response to what the other guys was playing?" And he's like, "I don't know. I haven't talked to Herbie." I said, "No, but let's just think about it real quick. The groove that your drummer played is not the same groove that he played. So why would you play the same thing Herbie played? Can you put yourself in Herbie's mind?" And I remember Jared Lanham was playing drums, and he was not playing anything that Harvey Mason played. I'm not saying he had to,
Right.
but do you think Herbie would have still played that if Jared Lanham was playing drums?
Right.
Not at all. That line and that what he was playing was in response to what the groove that was going on. So why would you play simply that? If you're going to do it, have the other guys learn what the other guys did, right? Because that's where the groove is. But you're going to force this groove, this clav part over, and you're not going to ask the other cats to do what the other people did.
Mm-hmm.
So um, when you study, the goal is to figure out what they're doing, because first of all, you like it. That's the first thing. When you want to train or when you want to learn something, it's because it's something that you heard that you liked. Then Ellis told me, learn the whole solo because you need to learn transition material. I was like, I didn't think I needed transition material. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you write a movie, you got the perfect climax scene. Well, how do you get there? How do you get away from there? That's important, right?
Right.
But you got to study those things. So anyway, I don't know if that answers your question or not, but I don't think you could ever be a clone of a person.
I mean, some people try to be.
Yeah, I mean that might be what they want to do.
You know, it's kind of counterproductive, but it's. I mean, I guess it's easier copying than it is to, you know.
I would tell you what, I'd charge extra money if somebody wanted me to just sound like Herbie or just sound like OP or just sound like Bud Powell. I would charge extra money because that's not what I want to do. Is I want to be myself as much as possible.
Right.
But I would charge extra money but if I'm doing a tribute to Herbie, I'm immersing myself in Herbie.
Right.
Everybody knows I love McCoy Tyner, so I'll probably get called for McCoy Tyner based stuff more than Bud Powell because I'm not a bebop pianist or Fats Waller was more of a stride. Errol Garner, I'm not that. That's not where my bent is, you know.
Right.
Could I do it? Yeah, I'm a studious person, you know.
Well, I think that puts a bow. So yeah, we'll talk more about maybe so we talked about studying the greats, but how to study the greats. So we'll
how to study.
Do another segment on and talk about that and maybe get a couple of students on and pick their brain and talk about a couple of things. So
yeah.
But that was cool, man. That was cool.
Yeah. Is there anybody you're studying right now?
Man, I'm always. I mean, I wouldn't say one person in particular. I'm sort of back into some basic hand stuff. I've been noticing some habits that have been coming up, and so I'm trying to break some habits right now. So I'm back on just some, I wouldn't say real simple hand technique, but some hand to hand stuff and more left hand leading type things because I'm noticing some bad habits that are limiting what I want to do in the moment. Right. It's like you think about it in the moment, but I'm sort of like, I'm cut off because I'm sort of just like in this thing. So, but yeah, man, that was cool. So, did you see the, it's kind of off subject, but, Key, what's, Key and P, not Jordan Peele, but,
no,
Michael Key, Keegan Key.
Yeah.
What's the first thing?
Yeah, Key Michael. Oh, now you messed me up.
Keegan Michael Key. Is that it?
Keegan Michael Key. There you go. Yeah.
So he was on Rich Eisen's show and they did a skit.
Oh, yeah, you did the names, football names.
Mr. Guard, did you see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
You didn't, or you did?
I did.
Oh, you did see it, man.
Yeah.
That joke was hilarious, man. He does
he's calling out the people's name.
The new, like some of the new players.
Yeah.
And so I was checking that out, man.
That was fun.
If anybody hasn't seen the classic Key and Peele skit, Mr. Garvey, who's a inner city teacher who gets stuck in a school from the suburbs, and his whole class is Caucasian, but he only knows how to pronounce black names. Is basically the skit, man.
Black derivative names like
right,
Jacqueline, Jay Quellen.
Right, but I wanted to play this and kind of close the show out, man.
Okay.
So
favorite characters of yours is the legendary substitute teacher,
Oh,
Mr.
yeah,
Garvey,
sure.
who has some interesting ways of pronouncing people's names.
That's correct.
Jay Quellen.
It is.
Where's Jay Quellen at? No Jay Quellen here?
Do you mean Jacqueline?
Okay, so that's how it's gonna be.
We have come up with a list of NFL players and asking you to Mr. Garvey them, and we'll do our best to decipher.
Are y'all ready for roll call? Yeah. I'm going to call out these names. If you hear, just say yes. Where is Ladidi Mekonka? Mekonke. Ladidi Mekonke? Are you here?
Ladidi?
It's Ladidi Mekonke.
Oh, Lad McConkey. There he is.
That makes sense.
Boy, your name is Ladidi Mekonke. When I call your name, say here. I'm not going to do this all day. Is Darake Maye here? Where is Darake Maye?
I don't know. I think he might.
Come on, Rich. Where are these people? Where are the students at?
He might be in New England. Let's see if we guess this one right here. There he is. Yes, there he
There
is.
it is. That's what I said. Darake Maye. Next. Where is L.I.M. Itchenberg? Is L.I.M. Itchenberg up in here?
Let's see if he L.I.M. Huh? Let's see if he
L.I.M.
Oh no, Liam Eichenberg.
Okay, Itchenberg. That's a CH. Is Chauncey McLaughlin in here? Where's Chauncey McLaughlin? Chauncey. I mean, I don't know how else to say this. Chauncey McLaughlin. He's in Tampa Bay.
He's in Tampa.
All right, Chauncey. I'm gonna go to the next one. Here, watch this now. This brother's name is Balake. I know that name. Everybody familiar with that name? Balake Karoon. Balake Karoon. Where you at, Balake Karoon? Where's Duque Relay? Where's Duque? It might be, hold on. It may be Dookie. Dookie Relay. What the hell? What is it?
Let's see what he is. Okay, no, he's in Miami too.
Oh, he's also at Duque. All right, last on the list, last but not least, we got G-Reg Zerillion. Where is G-Reg Zerillion? I feel like G-Reg Zerillion might be a kicker. Am I right about this? This is the feeling.
Let's see. There he is.
Oh yeah, G-Reg Zerillion. G-Reg.
He plays with Aaron.
He plays with Aaron. That's right, Rodgers.
Oh, my head hurts.
Aaron Rodgers. Where are you?
So
much fun,
dude.
Oh man, just I mean,
Hilarious.
man, Ladidi Mekonke.
Bruh. Chauncey, bruh. Bruh, that was my brother David was in his class, man, and the teacher was struggling with the names, bruh. He's like, she said hydrogen. He's like, man, got down, was struggling to take Kayla. It's tequila. So I got to my brother David Jackson. Now that's the type of names I like right there. David Jackson, a simple name.
We got to talk to our man Lamar Clay, who does the vinyl. We got to get another vinyl show happening too, but
Right.
you know, because he teaches 5th grade, man.
Oh, yeah.
So he got some stories, bro. That's hilarious with that. I'm trying to pronounce some of these names, dude. It's like, oh man, it's hilarious.
Ask my brother with these graduations, bro. He got Don got graduations. Bro. Be lighting him up, bro. Lighting him up. Oh,
all right,
man.
guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We got some new stuff going on the YouTube channel. Some great edited videos that Brian Falgu, our trusty producer, has done for us. So go check those out. We got some stuff with George Flutis up there and also Jez Graham. We got more stuff coming in that way. But subscribe to the channel, set your notification bell, know when we go live or when we drop a new video. We've sort of been we've been in chill mode. We're about to rev it back up though for the fall, even though my man here is back back in school and trying to get that get all that balanced with the other stuff. So I'm just super busy coming up for September, October, November, and then of course through December. It's just a lot of stuff going on, but we will be here on Tuesdays. Also, I want to give a shout out to our dude Joel Powell, who is back getting his master's at Georgia State and finishing that achievement. So we're going to get Joel on the show to talk about a couple of things, because he's sort of that last, in my opinion, one of the last younger guys that got it.
Yeah, he grew up.
And
he grew up.
You know,
we got him when he was impressionable young musician.
Got him when he was 20. I mean, I remember he was 24. He was fresh from Albany, bro. When he was on Russell's gig, and we got him. So it'd be interesting to hear, because he's had some interesting discoveries of his own now that he's becoming more of a I guess just, you know, he's not the young guy anymore, so he's older now, right. And so we got guys coming up under him, so we'll get him on and talk about some of that stuff. But shout out to him for going back, and he's actually thinking about going down your road, bro. So I asked him if he had talked to you, and he said a little bit. He said, I'm really thinking about it. So he might be going for the DR, man. He might be. Never
He's
know.
got the bug right now, man, which is cool.
Yep. So shout out to him. But safe travels to our friends over in London and Ireland, and you know, they don't ask us to go, but that's cool. That's cool. Right. You know,
we could have done a jig.
We done all that anyway, bro. We don't want to go to, you know, that's all right. But they went to Abbey Road, I think today or yesterday, and did the whole walk across the street thing and everything. So,
oh really?
So their life is complete now, man. So
they do it barefoot.
That's ooh, don't want to do that. That means you're dead, right? Paul is dead. But Podhorser probably did. Showed his big feet. England. He probably got banned from England with them feet. Said, man, put your shoes back on, bro. Put your shoes back on.
Put those high socks back on.
Put your shoes back on. Put your shoes back on. So anyway, thanks guys for hanging out with us. Yeah, and not too much going on. Be at Tin Roof tomorrow night with the Mikeville Band. Tyrone will be at Red Light Cafe.
Sir.
With Gordon Vernick Quartet for the jazz jam over there with Robert Brune and Neil Starkey. Oh, and Neil Starkey will be with us next week. We're going to have Neil on to chop it up about his illustrious career, and I'm sure a lot of laughs will be had. Some great stories with Neil. So tune in next week. We're going to have the great Neil Starkey with us. So other than that, got anything else, my man? That's it.
Right in the pocket there, bro.
All right, brother. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and we will see you next week.